Hey everyone, so I've been overwhelmed by messages from people I'm still on Facebook Messenger and YouTube, asking for my thoughts on current events. So I'm making this short video despite the fact that, I've stayed as well away from members of the public as I can. And I'm going to share a few of my thoughts on what's actually going on. I have to excuse the way I'm dressed and everything. I've been working on this old car today. It's the 29th of March today. So any of you who are watching this video, probably subscribe to my channel and everything else. You're obviously already aware that things aren't what they seem, they never are. And, you would also, I don't have to go down the route of what the virus is and everything else. Everybody knows what's going on with that. But you can see that it's being used as an excuse to, like a test bed, to roll out as many ticks in the boxes, as possible in terms of control. And, nearly everything is under this fair game at the moment. What we're witnessing actually is the biggest wealth transfer in human history. They are stripping people of their independence and their wealth and their security, right up to the upper middle class, and that's when it gets dangerous. It's not about a virus. Viruses come and go, just the same as flus, which kill far more people each year. 30,000 people is not a good enough, 30,000 deaths is not a good enough excuse in my mind, and I'm not discrediting the people who have died, God rest their souls, but in terms of around the world, the point I'm getting to is that there is not enough people to warrant shutting down the entire world economy as we know it, something that will never, ever recover to the way it used to be, never. I mean, people don't even understand what's to come yet. They don't even get it. They think it's just going to be over and we're all going to get back and it's going to be like a bit of a boom because of the slack that's being taken up, and then life goes on as normal. No way. No way. The things that are changing now are changing for good. They're being used, this virus is being used as an excuse. Governments around the world will be responsible for more deaths than this virus will ever cause. And that will be indirect deaths, which will be hard to measure, but I'm sure somebody out there will have the patience to look it all up. It will be suicides due to people just depressed about just hearing all this all the time from people who are vulnerable anyway, who's lost their life savings or their ability to earn money for their families or keep their families going, look after their children, whatever. It will be the stripping down people who are used to it and have decent lifestyle, who will have that taken away from under their feet through no fault of their own. And there will obviously, you can see coming now, public disturbance. I wouldn't like to still be living in a city. Luckily enough, I sold my house and moved out. And you can see that there's a lot of problems that haven't even begun yet. And as a box ticking exercise, all these control measures are all coming in. New laws are being written just like that. You want a new law for something that's causing anything wrong, and somebody at the top don't want it, it will take years to get it through, and it'll be a wishy-washy, watered-down version of it. But you get something like this, and they can just go in, speak the words, and boom, it's done. The world's changed. So, piece of shit, Tony Blair, come out this morning, I think it was this morning, 29th of March today, Sunday, and was saying about how the world needs to unite. Haven't we heard all this before? It's all the same from these globalists. They want everybody under control of one umbrella, something they can't touch or vote for or fight against. They don't want the individualism out of countries or of people being able to go out and be self-employed to earn their own money. They just want it all under control. And that's what universal income is about. It's slavery. You do what we tell you when we tell you to do it, and you will get this income. If you don't, you've got nothing, mate, because we've destroyed every other means you've got of earning money. And that's what that's about. The cash, the destruction of cash, by calling it dirty. Is cash dirty getting handed about from you to that cashier and then possibly out to one other person? Or is it dirty the fact that you're typing your card details in on a keypad, which everybody else in the whole queue is using? But if you push this out as well, you'll end up with a chip in your arm which got your bank balance on it, and whether or not you've been vaccinated, and whether or not you can travel on an airplane because of that, and everything else. So you can see all these things we've been talking about that we're now being vindicated for. You can see all these things playing out, and all the box ticking exercises are happening. They will jump in terms of the people who want to try and control under one sort of unelected world government. They will jump leaps and bounds during all this, but don't be despaired. I'm not here to give you a doom and gloom disaster video. I'm here to give a little thought on my take on things at the moment. What you've got to remember is Tony Blair, a piece of shit. Tony Blair is responsible. I mean, conservative estimates put it at about 450,000 violent murders in Iraq, which he's got his hands on. And that is a far superior amount at the moment compared to any 30,000 of COVID-19. So probably the best thing that if Tony Blair coming out and saying that we need one world sort of reaction and authority to deal with this, perhaps the safest thing that Tony Blair could do for humanity is to go and shoot himself in the head. I think the world would be a lot more peaceful at that point. Then you've got all these things that are happening around the world. Democracy has basically been taken away from the likes of us, and it's not even our fault. We've done nothing. Nobody in the so I'm talking about the UK now. I haven't been watching the news much. I haven't watched it for 6 or 7 years. I'm not really interested. You hear enough through people, so you'll have to forgive my naivety if there's things that I just don't know of that's happened. I'm not really interested. I give up being interested a long time ago. So this globalist plan is being written. Never waste a crisis. This is being ridden on the back of to create as much control as possible to destroy the self-employed man or woman from going around and knocking on a door and saying, "Excuse me, can I paint your house and I'll charge you this much," whatever it may be. There's a destruction of that. You need to be under this umbrella of employment. You will find that any public sector workers will be looked after incredibly, rightly so. But at the same time, that's part of the umbrella of control. So remember, there's rings around these people that make them untouchable, and all public sector workers, whether it be police, judges, school teachers, NHS staff, anything, they are all cannon fodder, and they will all fight no matter what happens to look after themselves and their own families, and that's fair enough. And that includes grassing you up, by the way. So remember that your biggest enemy during all this that's going on now are the curtain twitchers, the assholes in your street who will be trying to gain brownie points with anybody in positions of power because they fear and they want the chance of survival for their family to go up. They will be curtain twitching and grassing you up on anything you do, even if you think what you're doing is not wrong in any way. These ultimately, what you have to remember is if some piece of shit stands up and says something, it's not that piece of shit that goes around and enforces it. Just remember that. It's all the do-gooders, your next door neighbours, the people who are lying there as snidey people in the background ready to take take anybody out and grass anybody up for things that not even doing wrong. And just remember, this is not your fault. You didn't. All that's happened is a virus has gone around the world, which goes around the world every year. And that 30,000 deaths will seem like a small, minute amount compared to the amount of people that the government is now going to kill by implementing all these massive restrictions and shutdowns of all businesses across the country and across the world. This is nothing. You have seen nothing yet.